Welcome back to another episode of Built for Legacy. I am your host, Suheyl Hernandez, and today I have the pleasure of sitting here with a friend, Jisele Hernandez, and she's an agent at my husband's brokerage, and I wanted to bring her on here because she's an agent that I admire. She's an agent that puts in a lot of hard work, and I want you guys to get to know her a little bit. So, Jisele, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
No, the pleasure is mine. So, I know that you've had other businesses that you've ran, and I know that you used to do something that I really, really, really like, and it's the whole party industry.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about that and what made you get into real estate?
So I worked for a really big spirits company for, a long time, like, I don't know, 15 years. I'm dating myself a little bit, but whatever.
It's okay.
So I did events for them. I didn't start doing events for them. Honestly, I started as an assistant. Through a staffing agency, they got me into this big spirits company. I wanted just like a job, whatever. So we got into that, and then I just kind of like grew. I was in a bunch of different positions at that company, but the one that I spent the most time doing was event planning. So at one point, I was like at a national level.
Wow.
So I did events like all over the U.S. and with a giant portfolio of liquor brands, from Bacardi to Grey Goose to a bunch of them. All the ones that you know. And I did that for a while, and you get burned out when you do events. So everyone always sees kind of like the glamorous side of it, the funny and sexy side, or not the funny side, but like the sexy side of it, which is at the party, right? Oh my God, you go to the coolest parties and, you do all these cool events. But what they don't see is that you've been there for 13 hours before, and you're sweaty, and it took you 5 minutes to get ready before doors open because that's all you have. So you smell disgusting, you put perfume on top, you put on your black dress because it has to be a black dress, right? And doors open, and you're exhausted by that point.
And then you gotta still keep
but
going.
you gotta still keep going. And then the suckiest part is the breakdown. No one thinks about that part. But anyway, so I did that for a long time, and it was very rewarding. I loved the people that I worked with. The team was like everything. And I did that for a while. And then at one point, I just, I was kind of tired of it. I wanted to do something different. I got into pharmaceutical sales for a year. And I actually didn't like it, even though, it was sales. And obviously we do sales now. I didn't like it because I found it to be a little bit degrading, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you go into these doctors' offices, you spend all this time training, right? You go away for like 2 weeks, you're training your butt off, you learn about these products, you kind of have to learn the lingo of like a doctor. You're obviously not on their level, not even close, but you still have to be, technical when you speak. So you do all this training, and then you walk into these doctors' offices, and if you're lucky, they'll look at you in the face and say hello and let you talk about your brand. And on those days, which is not that often, you love your job. It's amazing, or at least I did. And then all the other days, which is the majority of the days, you're walking into an office and, again, if they look you in the face and just say hello, you're like lucky. And I didn't like that. So then the industry, the whole medical industry changed. At that point, lucky for me, right? 1 year later, it changed. They did a bunch of layoffs like across, the whole industry, and I got laid off. So I went back to event planning, but I started my own business doing it. So I worked with the same client with the same liquor brands, but on my own. So I had a company called Moon Cricket.
Moon Cricket.
Moon Cricket.
That's an interesting name.
I had a company called Moon Cricket, and I had a partner. And he and I, it was the same thing. It was traveling nationwide, working with all these brands. And I did that for a few more years. And then I did like 1 or 2 other roles at that same liquor company. And then one day I just decided, I had always thought about real estate. I loved, like homes and going into people's houses and just like looking on Zillow. And I loved like seeing the way that people decorate things. So I guess like interior design is kind of like a thing of mine. I don't do it, obviously, but I love it. And I decided to get licensed. And, I'm really proud of, I don't really talk about this much because whatever, it's not a big deal. But I am proud of the fact that I passed my. I got the license after the first time taking the exam.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Because most people don't.
Yeah, I
I know
know.
very few
I
that
know.
have done that. Well, I'll say I'm very proud of it. My husband. My husband takes whatever test, first try, and he passes.
Yes, I'm not that person. I'm not that person, but I did it with real estate, which I'm proud of.
Well, very congratulations.
Thank you. So anyway, so I got my license, and and this is what I've been doing the past few years.
So you like it?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that this is what I always tell people. So my backup plan was always doing events, right? Because I did it for so many years, and I had so many contacts, like good contacts, big contacts. So that was always my fallback plan. And when I started doing real estate, I never even thought about the fallback plan. I never went back, and I won't.
Well, that's because you're sure of yourself,
Right?
And because you're a great agent, and you have professionalism, and you put your clients' best interests first, and that's what differentiates you from other
Thank you.
agents.
Thank you.
I'm very proud that you're part of my husband's company. I really am, because like I said, you're a great soul in and out.
Thank you.
What I've gotten to know. So I'm going to tell you something funny. I love event planning.
Okay.
I absolutely love it. I wish I would have done it, but then I know it's so exhausting. I have a really good friend of mine that does parties, just a big event planner, and I see how exhausted she is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then also, I'm going to tell you a little secret. So the big events that we host for the company yearly, I have a control problem.
Like all event planners, by the way.
Okay.
We all do.
So, but I'm a frustrated one. So I go and I make sure that everything gets set up. And even though I have a whole crew working, you see, I come down from my room and I'm downstairs and I'm moving this and I'm moving that.
Yep.
And then it's so hard to find people that want to take it down.
Yeah. The breakdown, I told you.
The breakdown kills me. So while everybody sleeps, I go downstairs in the morning and I take everything down.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is so exhausting.
Yep.
And then every year I say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then...
But you love it.
I love it. I love more the setting up. I don't like the breakdown so much.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to find someone that wants to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that's why you probably had to work so hard. And then especially in Christmas time, the holidays, people just... And if they're going to do it, they want to tax you.
Yeah.
And tax you to a way that you're like, how are you going to tax me like this?
Yeah.
To do what? I mean, I did it by myself and I took it down in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but that's a little secret of mine.
Yeah.
And I love it. So when I do Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve and everything else, everything gets done by me. So I literally work for days. But the older I get, the longer I take to do things.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah,
it's tiring. It's taxing.
It is.
It's very taxing.
But I love to go and purchase the flowers and then go home and I open up a plastic table and then I go into my shed and I take out, okay, so it's Thanksgiving. Let's see, let's use the pumpkins, or I'm going to use the red this year. I'm going to use the gold. And then I sit there and I start planning and I start putting little flowers and then I put them in the shed with the AC so they don't get messed up. I love it. To me, it's super, super, super rewarding.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about event planning?
I guess watching the end result, seeing, what you built. And I would say my favorite part was probably the team, working with the team. So when you figure out, who your team is and the vendors that you prefer, right? Like your floral guy or, your labor people, those are the ones that, you have the most difficult time with. When you figure that out and you get your team in place, it's a lot of fun because you're together all the time, right? I mean, you spend 12 hours setting up an event. So that's probably my favorite part is the camaraderie and the team.
So you wouldn't go back?
No, not now. I love real estate, so no, I wouldn't go back. And every once in a while, I'll have a friend who does, whatever she does, a baby shower, whatever. And and I'm always quiet and they always look at me and I'm like, okay, I'll help.
That's like me. I love to help everybody plan their parties, and I'm like, I don't even do this.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
To me, and when you do events at home, do you decorate them yourself or do you keep them simple?
I mean, so that's like an ongoing conversation with my husband. He loves to entertain, and I know how to entertain, but I don't like to entertain because then I work. So, so I'm always kind of running away from it, but I can't always run away from it. So all of a sudden, if we have 10 people at home, he'll tell me, just relax, no one cares. And I'm like, no, but the tablescape has to be a certain way. And let me go into the garage. And all of a sudden I pull out all these, things that I've accumulated throughout the year. So yes, so I do it. I do it nicely.
So your husband and my husband are the opposite.
Yes.
I like to entertain, and my husband does not like to entertain. He complains since I start planning, during the process, at the event,
Yeah.
and after the event.
Yeah. Yeah, because he probably tells you that you turn into a different person. At least that's what my husband tells me.
Well, no, he tells me he doesn't like to see me work so hard.
Okay.
That's what he tells me. So then at home, even if it's, I say at my house, we have 20 plates, 20 water glasses.
Yeah, everything. You're ready.
Yeah, but the 21st person just doesn't go in. It's a very limited circle. I guess a limited circle that you learn throughout the years, how you close it up. I remember when I was younger, I used to just, for no reason, out of nowhere, I used to just call everybody and say, hey, let's just all get together. And you would have 35, 40 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then now I find myself that I'll cook or I'll do something for 10 of us, and I am working for 10 hours.
Of course.
I'm like, what in the world is wrong with
Yeah. Well, now you care about how it looks and.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's just 5 of us.
Yeah.
I go and I buy the flowers and
Yeah.
I do the arrangements
Yeah.
and I put, the table
And the napkins and the linens.
and the linens
Yeah.
and the table. And then my husband looks at me and goes, we're not eating at
Yeah.
a restaurant. You do not need to put the wine glass and the champagne glass and the water glass and the forks. And then I'm like, but I love it.
Yeah, and you're like, the playlist. What playlist do I put together?
That is crazy. So I know that you have family that lives in New York. And I know that you've told me how different it is running the real estate over there and over here. Where do you like it better?
Miami for sure. I mean, I didn't do much up there at all. I mean, I was born in New York, and I have a lot of immediate family that's up there, but I've been here in Miami my whole life.
So you're a Miami girl like
yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah.
Do you see yourself living up north in the cold?
I like the cold. Everyone tells me that I like the cold because I've never lived in the cold, but I do love New York. It's my favorite city. But no, I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, I think that when you get used to living here, and
Yeah.
we don't have to like pick up snow
Yeah.
and everything else, I think that makes a huge difference.
And with all the construction that's now happening in my house, it's our forever home.
Yeah, that's what I say, but you never say forever.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you never say forever. Like I picture myself like that as well. Like I get home and I have a small home. I don't have a huge home. But I don't know if it's all the memories that, our 3 kids grew up there or what, but I literally get home and I just walk outside and I say to my husband every single day, I love our home.
Yeah. Well, you have a gorgeous backyard.
Thank you. Well, that is my favorite part. That's my favorite part. If it was up to me, I would be there all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what our biggest argument is. I like to sit outside and he likes to be inside.
Ah, interesting.
So come outside with me. Leave me alone. Let me
Yeah.
watch TV. No, come be with me for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I love to be outside. And it feels nice when you think it's like your forever home.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk to me a little bit about the construction that you have going on?
So we've been talking about it for like 2 years. And we finally broke ground, I guess you can say, about 2 weeks ago. So it's exciting. The GC is my husband's best friend's father. So they're getting things done. I mean, they're in there working every day. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, for the first time, I finally, people always say that construction dust. I didn't know what that meant until yesterday. So I vacuumed, the family room, and I kept coming back around and I'm like, is the vacuum not working? And I was like, this is what people talk about. So anyways, we started the construction. And it's just interesting. And, like I mentioned to you earlier, so this morning, I'm watching them like jackhammering, the backyard. And I thought to myself, wow, this is like so interesting how in, 6-7 months, I'm going to have a completely different home. You know what I mean? And it doesn't look any different yesterday compared to today, right? Or today compared to yesterday, rather. But, in a month, in 2 months, in 5 months, it's going to be completely different. And so it reminded me that, like anything in life, especially, when you're building your own business, you just have to chip away every single day just a little bit. And yesterday is not going to look anything, or today is not going to look anything like yesterday. But in a month, 2 months, 6 months, it's going to be completely different. So I had kind of like a moment there this morning where I was like, this is like my business. Like,
It is like everything in life.
yeah.
And that the reason why I brought it up is because I loved what you said. It's like chipping at it every single day.
Yep.
And then going back to our conversation is everybody's capable of chipping at it every single day.
Yep.
Situation is that people don't like to put in the work.
Right.
And sometimes people don't go and remodel their homes because they don't want the mess and they
Right.
don't want the dust and they don't want this. They want a changed home,
Yeah.
but they don't want to put in the sacrifice.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to bring that up because I really like what you said, chipping at it every
Yep.
single day.
Yep. The analogy of chipping away.
So you're
Yep.
excited?
I am excited. I'm a homebody. I mean, my husband likes to be home as well, but if it were up to him, like we would go out more often than we do. I love to be at home, so a big part of it, it's probably how the whole project started. I wanted to build out the backyard because I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just like being called by that. I want to build out the backyard and have it be like my little sanctuary. So I am excited.
That's how I feel about my house. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really like to go anywhere. I mean, I like to entertain and everything else, but I kind of like to be home.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like you form a routine and then you just get so used to being home that then it's harder to get out.
Yeah, of course.
But sometimes we got to break the routine.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
being home is great, but we also need to get out sometimes.
Yeah.
But it becomes like so monotonous that, for example, sometimes I'll tell Mike, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What do you want to do? Tell me where you want to go. And I'm like, I don't know. And then we end up doing nothing
Yeah.
and staying home.
Yeah.
But even though that's a great thing to be home and to be a homebody, sometimes we need to
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah. I agree.
So
So I
maybe-
force myself.
So maybe you should force yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
I should force myself
Yeah.
a little bit more too.
Maybe we should force ourselves and go out, the four of us.
We definitely should. That would be great. We could go have dinner somewhere. It would be nice. I would love that. That would be great. I mean, it also is that you're tired from work
Yeah.
but unless you go out, sometimes you go home and you continue with the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because even though you don't want to go out, when you get out there, you're like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah.
And then you think about other things and you talk about other things and you meet different people. And that actually helps very much.
Yeah, breaking the routine.
Breaking the routine.
Yeah.
Like Friday night, we did that. We never go out on a
Yeah.
Friday, ever. And then, since our kids are older, sometimes we look at ourselves and say, like, okay, we have nothing to do. Like, where do we go now? What do we do?
Yeah.
Because we dedicated our lives so much to our kids that now we're kind of lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
So
little bored, maybe.
Yeah, a little bored. Even though we're not empty nesters, because, one of them doesn't live at home anymore, but the other two do.
Yeah.
But we still, sometimes we're like,
But they're grown now.
so.
They're making their own plans.
For example, my son's leaving to his girlfriend's house tonight, and my daughter works till 11 if she gets lucky. So we're home alone.
Yeah.
So then now we look at each other, and I'm like, okay, what do we do? So then what do we do sometimes is that all we concentrate is work.
Yeah.
And that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
It does. Because
Yeah.
then you're trying to fill that emptiness that you have, because since you've dedicated yourself so much to the kids, then now you're filling that with work.
Yeah.
But then it becomes sickening. It does, because that routine it tires you afterwards, and then you're tired of
Yeah.
it, but then you don't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it happens to you, but
And it's a recipe for, burning yourself out, which, you never want to do. But you never know that it's happening until you're burned out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then people break.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why you broke. You
Yeah.
broke because you just kept on and on and on.
Yeah.
So just tell me a little bit about your real estate. What's your favorite part?
Okay, so I'm making it my favorite part. Okay,
Okay.
I can't say that I'm fully feeling that it's my favorite part, but I'm making it my favorite part. So 2026 for me is going to be, or it has been so far.
Okay.
We're a month in, about prospecting, so cold calling. So I've had a lot of training. I feel like I've
Progressed?
Yeah, I have, but now it's time to put it into action. So last year, so 2025, I spent a lot of time training and learning and, working with coaches and, learning basically. I mean, and the reason why I hesitate is because that's kind of my MO. Like I love to learn and I'm all about, training and getting educated. But then, there comes a time where it's enough school already, like,
Let's implement.
right, let's implement. So I have a difficult time doing that oftentimes. So I have to put effort into that. And now I am doing that. So
I was going to say, I am very proud of you because I've seen you.
Thank you.
I've seen you put in the time and
Thank
I've
you.
seen you put in the work. And I know it's going to work out. And listen, the part to implement is hard for everyone.
yeah,
When we're starting something new and you have to implement, it's hard. And it's not only hard because we're doing something new, it's hard because inside we have a little doubt.
yeah,
Can I?
Yeah.
Will I? Am I capable of doing this?
exactly.
And that's just something that we have to overcome because like we said at the beginning when you and I were not recording, everybody's capable.
Yeah,
And I'm sure, I am positive that you're going to do great. And again, consistency. And I see
Consistency
you
is
that you come every day. Guys, she comes every day. She tries every single day. And
it goes back to the chipping away at it.
It does.
Chipping away at it.
You're going to see. You're going to see all
Yeah.
the fruits.
Yeah.
You're going to be very happy. And again, I don't want you to get discouraged if you see 3 months into this that you're not where you want to be because this takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes the same amount of time how long did it take you to go national?
Yeah, I mean, a while.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're starting something new. Even though you've been in the real estate industry for a while, now you are doing something totally different.
Something totally different, something completely new, something that's hard.
It's very hard.
You have to have a thick skin, which, I don't think that I have a problem with that. But it doesn't matter how thick your skin is. Like, it gets to you sometimes. But it's the chipping away at it, So what I've been doing is I want to dedicate 2 hours a day. Right now, I'm kind of like at an hour a day. Sometimes I go over. And some days are better than others. But it's definitely not as bad as I thought it was. I haven't had anyone curse me out or anything like that.
Not yet.
Well, my older brother, who's also like my mentor, my older brother has had, years and years. He has a career on Wall Street in finance in New York.
Nice.
So when I mentioned that to him the other day, he's like, "You're not going to get cursed out. You're a girl. Or at least it's less likely that you will because you're a girl." And I was like, God, I hope he's right.
Well, there was an agent once here at the company, and she was a woman, and it happened to her. So if it happens, just don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal.
No.
How many times don't people call us and then, okay, so I feel bad because I have a team for my coaching and everything else that does cold calls, right? And I feel bad for them sometimes because they're like, they hung up on me and this and that. And I'm like, okay, I hang up on people all the time.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
And then you know why we get hung up on more? Because of all these spam likely calls.
Yeah.
Because at least back in the days, like our phone numbers weren't sold out like
Right.
this. Like, what is it that they do? Do they sell our numbers? Like,
Yeah.
how does it work? So then since there's so many spam calls, sometimes we get hung up on. But
Yeah.
we can't let nothing discourage us.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I'm kind of, excited about that. I've been calling for sale by owners. And, I had been told, but now I'm experiencing it. A lot of them are like chatterboxes. They will talk to you.
Yeah, of course.
So, so that's nice.
Well, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna see
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna see you this year, standing on that stage. I'm gonna say, "You see, my friend, you
Yeah,
did it.
hopefully,
you did
yeah,
it."
in
No,
December.
hopefully no. It
I
will.
thought about it. So at the event, at the holiday party this past year, I sat there and I thought to myself, because I knew what 2026 was going to be about, right, for me, for prospecting. And I thought to myself, man, like, what's next December going to be like? Like, am I going to be getting another award, because I'm going to stick to the prospecting? And it would be nice to be able to get up there in December and say, wow, like it didn't feel like this in January, it didn't feel like this in February, but now we're in December and
But it will.
yeah,
But it will. But we just can't give up halfway.
yeah,
Because if every time that we stop and we start again, we start from zero.
yeah,
And I'm going to tell you, because even though I do this and I speak everywhere and I coach and I talk to people and I run such a big brokerage, I'm going to be honest. There's days I don't want to do it.
yeah.
But those are the days
That you have to push through.
that you
Yeah.
have to push through.
Yeah.
And listen, at the end, you see the results.
Yeah.
And not every day you get the same results.
Yeah.
So I get discouraged sometimes. And I look at things and I'm like, wow, how could this be? And I'm like, because sometimes I'm not where I want to be, but I'm right where God wants me to
Exactly.
be. And that's just something that we
Exactly.
have to accept.
So, one mentality, I guess you can say that I've been having lately, and I try to read at the beginning of the day, especially before I cold call. Like I say a little prayer, and I read like my daily devotional. Like this morning, it talked about how just focus on what you can't see, right? Like, which means have your faith in Him, as opposed to like what you can see. If you're focused on what you can see, then you're just kind of lost. So I'm trying to come from a place of just providing service. So I make, however many calls I make in a day. And if you get that person that's rude and cuts you off, or I don't know, maybe curses you out, it hasn't happened yet. But it's like, just kind of understanding that, you're just, that person is not willing for you to help them. So if you come from a place of service, that person is just, it's not the right person. So whatever, next.
What I've learned, that most people that curse you out and treat you bad is not because of what you're doing. It's because of an inner problem that they have.
Yeah.
And sometimes, just people are having a bad day or they're going through tough situations in their life at the moment. And just some people are so miserable with themselves that then they just lash at someone that's trying to help them.
Yeah.
But we just can't take things personal and we got to keep going.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't know what just happened to them, 5 minutes before you called them. Maybe, I don't know, they have a parent that died, or they just got some sort of, crazy diagnosis, or
nothing happened. They're just simply not happy with themselves. And there's a lot of those people here.
Yeah.
So if you can give one advice to someone that's starting new in the real estate industry, what would that be?
One advice? Gosh, I feel like I have a few, but one that I wish I would have done
Well, if you have a few, then go ahead, give them all.
I think that when you get started, like joining a team and getting into some sort of coaching program that teaches you, but the problem is that there's so many out there that are garbage. Yep. So, finding one that really, really works for you, and, that's going to take research, right? Talking to all kinds of different agents and getting their feedback on, whatever program maybe they've used, but definitely getting into a coaching program and just learning from someone that's already done it, and doing that from the very beginning, because the part of figuring it out really sucks.
Yeah, I know.
It really, really sucks.
But you know what it is? Sometimes people don't believe in coaches because of that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't believe in coaches. I didn't. I coached and mentored. I've coached and mentored over probably 300 different individuals. But I didn't believe in the coaching until I found
the right one.
The right one.
Yeah, the right one.
And I invested in myself.
Yeah.
I invested in myself, not only money, but a lot of time. And I had to realize that there was a lot of things that I had to put into play to get things done. But Jisele, thank you so much for being here. It was a great pleasure. I hope to have you back again.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it in a couple of months. You can tell them how good you did with
exactly
cold calling, because I'm sure you're gonna make it.
I'll be the cold calling queen.
Yes, you guys can come and ask her how to cold call.
Yes.
Well, guys, thank you again for watching another episode of Built for Legacy. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and follow us on social media. Bye.